All right, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the one and only Wrestler Otaku channel. Of course, your personification of excellence on YouTube and YWC. We're the best reviews wrestling and your three-time YWC channel of the year. And I'm back here. It is now officially a little past midnight, so it is officially Tuesday, March 25th of 2025. So I hope you all had a good weekend. We're here in the back end, the final week of March. April, of course, will be next week around this time. So, man, 2025 is going by pretty quick, I'll tell you. So, yeah, man. So I figure I'd go ahead and do this video because there's a very specific thing that I want to talk about, something that was brought to my attention yesterday, last night, in fact. And it has since been a talking point and has actually been a report of sorts in wrestling. Specifically, it pertains to AEW. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about AEW, specifically about their achievements, or one such achievement that they're about to reach, or one, I guess you could say, milestone that they're about to reach. But in the last 6 years, since AEW's creation, since its inception, AEW has achieved a number of things. They've had a lot of accomplishments, that a lot of people thought that they would not. A lot of people thought they wouldn't even get to this point, but AEW, to their credit, to their infinite credit, and to the company, the organization, the wrestlers, the owner, and to us fans, you have to credit AEW because they're doing some things right now that are, at the time, it would have, if you'd have told people 6 years ago that AEW would reach this point in 2025, they would have all probably laughed at you. They would have all said, "Oh, no, there's no way possible," because they were saying that for like 6 years. And they still continue to basically be in denial and constantly criticize and constantly hate on the things AEW does and has done since their creation. And it's a little ridiculous. Like, it's beyond the point of ridiculous, It's like these people can't admit to the fact that they're wrong about AEW and their success and their achievements and so on and so forth. And, of course, you got these pundits, these critics, these haters, these podcasters out there, a number of which I've already named. I don't have to name any names. You all know who I'm referring to. But it's just like AEW has done an incredible thing in the wrestling business. You cannot deny AEW's impact and their influence on the wrestling business since their creation. They have quickly become one of the biggest wrestling promotions in the United States, dare I say the world. And there's a lot to be excited for. There's a lot still left to go, And AEW is going to be around for a long, long time, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. But with this video, I figured I'd talk about one such achievement, one such milestone that they're about to reach. So, I don't know if any of you watched AEW's recent Collision episode. It was a two-parter. They had one part on Saturday and one part on Sunday. It was kind of like a double two-night thing, where on Saturday they aired for an hour, and then on Sunday they aired for an hour. It was AEW Collisions. They branded it basically AEW Slam Dunk, AEW Collision Slam Dunk or something like that. Slam Dunk Saturday, Slam Dunk Sunday. And the reason for it is because, of course, you got the NCAA going on right now. You got the NCAA tournament, and that, of course, monopolizes a good chunk of, the TV time for, obviously the Turner or Warner Brothers Discovery channels, TBS and TNT. And so, as a result, Collision was pushed back from their usual time slot on, from 8 to 10 on TNT back to 11 p.m. They aired on 11 p.m. on Saturday and then 11 p.m. on Sunday. They aired 1 hour on Saturday, 1 hour on Sunday. And so thus we had a special, two show or two night, a double show, I should say, a 2-night show, that being Collision. They ran two parts basically. And so on Sunday, of course, last night, you had AEW Collision Grand Slam Sunday, which that show was headlined by the TNT title match. It was a headline match, or it was one of the, I guess you could say, main events, even though it was the first match. It wasn't the last match, but it was a headlined. I could say again, headlined by the TNT title match between Daniel Garcia and Adam Cole, which went to a 20-minute time limit draw. Very solid match, by the way. And the main event of the show was a tag team match featuring Hologram and Commander going over on Beast Mortos. And Beast Mortos and who the heck? I forget the other dude's name. It's the guy from La Faction de Gabonabas. I forget his name right off the top of my head. But No, it wasn't Serpentica. Was it? No, it wasn't Serpentica. God damn, I can't remember the dude's name. It doesn't really matter. But anyway, so it was main evented by that tag match. And it was a decent show. And then the previous night on Saturday, and also, oh yeah, also on Sunday or yesterday, they also had a trios, or they opened up with the trios title match with the Death Riders successfully retaining against Top Flight and AR Fox. That was a solid match as well. And then, of course, on Saturday, we had on Saturday they had some some good matches as well. But anyway, so yeah, I just thought I'd briefly go over what they had on Collision there. But anyway, so on Sunday they announced a special AEW Dynamite show that is going to take place on April 16th. April 16th, this show is going to emanate from Boston, Massachusetts, which, of course, if you don't know, Boston, Massachusetts is the hometown of the current TBS champion, and also, of course, she's the TBS champion. She's also the New Japan Strongwoman champion and the Rev Pro champion. She's currently holding 4 titles. That being, of course, Mercedes Moné. And a little known fact, it was actually last year in Boston at an AEW show, AEW Dynamite, I believe. I forget it was like a special event show. I forget what the name was, but it was actually last year in March on Dynamite that Mercedes Moné made her AEW debut in Boston on that special event show. And so I imagine Mercedes Moné is going to be a big part of that show as well, of course, on April 16th in her hometown. I can't imagine her not being, a big attraction, considering all that she's doing right now. But anyway, but April 16th, that April 16th show in Dynamite, which has been dubbed or has been titled Spring Breakthrough, I believe. So that specific show also holds another significance in a very big way. And it was announced during the show, like midway through the show, or midway through, AEW Collision the Slam Dunk Sunday show. It was announced that April 16th show in Boston, Spring Breakthrough, will basically be AEW Dynamite's hold on one second. Okay, sorry, I had to pause for a minute. I'm kind of all over the place here. But anyway, so that April 16th show, AEW Dynamite Spring Breakthrough in Boston, Massachusetts, it will set the mark for AEW to become the longest running weekly pro wrestling program on Turner Sports or in Turner Sports history, as I believe it was Tony Schiavone who was on commentary who basically made mention of that. It was Tony Schiavone or Excalibur, I forget who it was, but it was mentioned on commentary on Collision on Sunday that AEW, that April 16th show for Dynamite in Boston, will see AEW become the longest running pro wrestling program in Turner Sports history. And the significance behind that is obviously AEW will officially, on that night, with that episode, AEW will officially surpass WCW Nitro in terms of total episodes and in terms of total longevity. So, as you all know, or you should know, WCW Nitro ran from mid-1995 to 2001. And I believe the total episode number was 288. I think they had 288 episodes. So that April 16th show for Dynamite will be AEW Dynamite's episode number 289, which means that they will officially, again, surpass Nitro in terms of total episodes. So obviously this is significant for a number of reasons. And just hearing them announce that, and basically, because I actually saw, like, throughout the last couple months, people mention this on social media about how eventually Dynamite is very close. They're inching closer to surpassing Nitro in terms of total episodes and stuff like that. And, surpassing, just overall surpassing them in longevity, which, again, nobody dating back to, when AEW was first conceived, when the first Dynamite show took place. And then, for the first couple of years, everybody was saying, AEW is going to be a flop. They're not going to last long. They're going to go out of business. They're going to blah, 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 blah. And they were saying all these things. And now here we are 6 years later, and AEW Dynamite is about to surpass WCW Nitro in terms of total episodes. And they're going to be officially the longest running weekly pro wrestling program in Turner Sports history. And that's got to sting. I'm sure for all the haters and the critics and, just the idiots on social media and these podcasts who all they do is bitch about AEW, that cannot be a good feeling. or that's not going to be good. And one individual in specific, who I'm sure is not going to feel good about this, who I'm sure it's going to be a bad day for him, will be one Eric Bischoff, of course, the former executive vice president for WCW, the spokesperson, if you will, for WCW for all these years, and he's been one of the main ones who has been leading this charge, leading this hate brigade against AEW, especially within the last few years, and really all stemming from the fact that Tony Khan basically punked him out on social media because he was trying to say some stupid stuff, and Tony Khan basically put him in his place. And he's basically bitching and moaning, and he's had this agenda, he's had this narrative, this hate-filled narrative against AEW ever since. And how apropos is it that on April 16th with this Dynamite, AEW will surpass WCW Nitro, that of course, being Eric Bischoff's darling, that was his baby for the longest time. That was his claim to fame, him leading WCW to the heights that they reached back in the, late 90s and the 2000s. And now this upstart promotion that is a sinking ship, and they're a garbage indie fed, or they're glorified indie fed, and they're not going to do this, and they're blah blah blah, and they're a failing company, they're a dying company, blah blah blah, and all this bullshit that these people want to say. They're about to become the longest running weekly wrestling program in Turner sports history, and so that cannot feel good for Eric Bischoff and the rest of those old podcaster bigots, those other AEW hating, dickwads, for the AEW hating contingent on social media. I can't feel too good. And I'm sure that Tony Khan intentionally had Excalibur or Tony Schiavone, whoever it was who said it on commentary, they intentionally put that out there just to kind of rub it into the faces of some of these people who've been saying this shit. So I'm glad they did it. I'm glad they fucking did it. They basically announced that. And then since, of course, obviously later, it was reported on. You've seen, reports on various wrestling sites making mention of the fact that AEW Dynamite will surpass WCW Nitro on that show on April 16th. So yeah. So I just thought I'd say, oh man, it's good to be AEW. It's good to be an AEW fan right now. We are eating good. When it comes to being, when it comes to just what they're doing right now, the quality of the shows, the quality of the pay-per-views and the wrestling and everything, and looks to me like, they're nowhere near close to stopping anytime soon. And it's going to be a good rest of the year. I can tell you right now. And it's all those haters, and especially Eric Bischoff. All I got to say is stay salty, keep hating, because all you're doing is just showcasing the fact that you were wrong, and you're butthurt about the fact that you were wrong. And so, yeah, so keep hating, stay salty, and yeah, and AEW is just going to keep winning, and ain't nothing you can do about it. So all I can do is just laugh at that. That is just so great. That is so perfect. That is so apropos, just considering all the shit that Eric Bischoff has talked about this company in the last couple of years, and now now they're about to surpass WCW Nitro in total episode. Dynamite's about to surpass Nitro. That is just glorious. I cannot wait for that night. Eric Bischoff is going to act like such a petulant child on that day. I posted this on my Blue Sky a little while ago. April 16th is going to be a bad day for Eric Bischoff. He is going to be bitching and moaning and crying on that day. I can just imagine. I can just hear it now. We'll keep crying and keep hating on social media, Eric Bischoff. Keep being a petulant little child that you are, the bitter, jaded old man that you are. Stay salty. And yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say for that. So yeah, you and the rest of those dickwads, the rest of those podcasters out there with this clear agenda against AEW, JD included, all of you can keep crying, keep bitching and moaning, and AEW is just going to keep on winning. That's all there is to it. So yeah, just thought I'd talk about that. Just thought I'd mention that because it's good shit. You love to see it. Especially for me, an AEW fan, longtime AEW fan, you'll love to see that shit, man. Anyway, that's pretty much all I got to say for that. So can't wait for that show. Can't wait to see what AEW does, heading into that show. Because they got a lot of loaded shows coming up, especially in April. And I'll get to that a little later. But in a future video. But anyway, that's all I want to say for this video. So thank you for watching. Be sure to leave a like, leave a comment, give me your thoughts on anything I talked about here. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Appreciate all the support I can get. With that being said, it's pretty much going to do it, man. So thank you for watching once more. Till next time, Wrestling Otaku, I'm out for now. See you guys later. Peace.